So this is Cue Ball Wizard, a Gottlieb System 3 game in the early 90s, and I've decided to sell it, mainly because I'm running out of room. I have two brand new games coming from Stern, and I have to get rid of two children, maybe even three, to make it happen. So let me tell you a little bit about this Cue Ball Wizard. First of all, it's Gottlieb. That's the brand for all of the newer people out there, and it's a System 3 game, which means the electronics behind the glass are much farther better quality than the Gottlieb System 80 series that came before it. So it's very reliable, and you're really not going to have to do anything to this thing. It has a lithium backup battery, so you don't have to go and replace AA's, and you don't have to worry in particular about battery acid damage and some of those things that you've been concerned about if you've been following that stuff. The game was the most popular in terms of production of the Gottlieb System 3s. There were 27 System 3 machines made, and this one is only the second one that used a dot matrix display. There was actually 15 that used a dot matrix display. That's the display with all the dots that you see up here, like that. So there was 12 games then that was made that were alphanumeric, meaning they didn't have that dot matrix, so they didn't have any sort of graphics. They just had letters and numbers that were made out of different segments there. So, excuse me, going down the playfield here, just a couple things I want to point out to you. The drop target stickers have been replaced. And I can go over here and show you what the other bank looks like since it's all up. And the game has been completely LED'd, so all of those lamps, those traditional incandescent lamps, are gone. The current level has dropped down tremendously. The heat level has dropped down to almost no heat generation. And the look is really good. I was pretty not creative. I was careful, let's say, in the way that I wanted to LED out the game. I like to use sunlight colors instead of the ultra bright white that looks almost blue. I think that fits this game really well, and it really brightens it up because the game originally is quite dark. So plastics were removed to get to posts to put new rubber on. Plastics were cleaned in the process if they needed it. Drop targets were dropped and they were sonically cleaned, and then the targets have new stickers put on them. The cue ball is a real cue ball. Not that the other one wasn't, but this replaces the one that was in there for decades. This one actually has, I love this, it actually has where somebody has chalked up and popped it, so it's been used in billiards, which I think adds a lot of character to it. And I always wanted to have one that had really been used. So I found somebody. It's kind of hard to find if you're not a billiards player. I'm not. And so I found somebody that is, and they were willing to trade me that old ball that's never been used, even though it was kind of yellowish looking now. They like that. So they traded me that. And I also have their 8-ball because that 8-ball has absolutely no scratches or pits or anything on there. And that's good because I need that to not scratch this up. This was replaced. It's brand new. And the other one was fine. It had a crack in it. But man, does it look good when it's clean and brand new, So that looks good. Let's see. I actually have to put my screws back in here because I took this off whenever I put this on. So this is brand new. So anyway, I will have those screws in there. And then, let's see, down here on the apron, these stickers are new. These were available, reproduced, not original. So this is truly a mod, I guess you would say. And they really add a lot to the way the apron looks. And then these cards are not original cards. These cards were made by me, and just to make it look a little more attractive. So let's see, rubber, LEDs, the balls were changed. These were changed. All this is looking different. And then that plastic up there. And I think that is it. Every switch works, every light works, and every flasher works. And that's about it. So I guess it's time to stop talking and start chalking. just to kind of demo the game. And while I still have to screw that down up there, I can demo. So we'll do a one-handed demo. You shoot, and I missed a skill shot, so kind of want to demonstrate that. I won't go through too much of this game because you can see that later. So the idea is to shoot the ball right before, you'll see the ball go over to the right. It's going to trip a switch, which is in turn going to have that coil launch. So I'm going to do that right now. Oh, I guess it gave it to me. But now I've started a mode over here. And so the idea is to pop that cue ball out of the way so I can get into what they call the horseshoe. And I'm trying to do it with one hand. Now, one thing I want to bring up too about this one-handed play that I'm doing right now is possible really only if you have good flippers. And these flippers have been rebuilt. So I guess I forgot about that. I rebuilt the flippers underneath so they're stronger and they don't have any slop in them. And then I replaced the flipper bats because one of them had a little crack right here. So they've been replaced in pairs, and they're strong, plenty strong, and you can do things like do a ball bounce from one flipper to the other. A lot of games, I can't really stand a game where the flippers are full of slop, and whenever the ball hits here, it actually causes the flipper to go down, and then it rolls down and drains. So you're not going to have that problem here. This thing actually, flippers are plenty strong. So I'll shoot again, and that time I got the skill shot again. And I've automatically got a multi-ball mode. And so again, with one hand, I'm trying like crazy to not lose it. I just lost one ball. But the idea during multi-ball is to hit this up here, and then you'll launch this ball, and then you collect a jackpot if you can do it. So you do that by moving the cue ball up, and then a lot easier to watch me do this than to do it in real life. So anyway, I'll put that ball back. And that's really the name of the game. It's collecting, it's starting modes. The modes are down here on this wheel. All the lamp inserts underneath here were cleaned with a Q-tip in order to get as much light through here as possible and to make sure it wasn't ugly looking. So I need to say this game was not torn down like I do with a lot of games, all the way down to just a flat piece of plywood. This game was functional, fun, and not terribly disgusting. So because of that, and it's been in home use since 2004. So since it's been in home use for so long, yeah, it has some leftovers, some bits of wax in some little nooks and crannies, but I tried to clean the majority of that out, but I didn't do this massive restoration. Now, what could you do if you wanted to go further on this? Well, first thing is these side rails. Gottlieb side rails were not made of the best stainless steel in the System 3 era. At least in the dot matrix, by the time they got the dot matrix, they really kind of cheapened out on the stainless. So the stainless actually has some surface rusting that has occurred. And if I was to go further with this game, I would probably go and steel wool all this stuff and at minimum, but you're not going to fix this. That's the reason why I didn't make it all polished and shiny. What needs to happen is these need to come off, and then they need to be powder coated. That's what I would do. I'd powder coat that, the rail, and this, the lock bar, and then this rail, and I would powder coat this top piece up here. Everything that's stainless. I would do the legs, and I would do the coin door probably as well, and maybe even the shooter, just because. And I would probably do a 2-color combo there. I just like to have multiple colors. But that adds labor and expense and time. And of course, if I'm going to take these off, and if I got to remove these flipper buttons, and I'm replacing them, and then every one of these bolts and nails, they all need to be powder coated as well. And so it gets a little tricky. The cabinet is fine. It's got some beats and bangs on it, but it doesn't have chunks out of it. It's not really, beat up too bad. And the legs are Gottlieb legs, so they can be polished up quite a bit. But, again, if I was going to go any further with it, then I would charge more money. And I have a problem. My problem is when I go all in, I go all in. So that may mean if I can't find anything to cover this up here, then we call it side blades. Then either I put mirror blades on there that just reflect back, or I have them custom made, which costs quite a bit of money. And so I can really go bonkers on this stuff. But here's why I didn't. Because Cue Ball Wizard has always been a great playing game, at least for me. And all of our guests love it too. I just got 2 kids that are used to, the lineup of games that are over there. The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and The Simpsons and Ripley's and Iron Maiden, and games that just have just ridiculous rule sets, just like these over here. So anyway, that's just a little bit about, people's preference. Great starter game. Very good at trying to get a spouse involved in pinball because they can all play this, and it's not very complicated, but it has a big payoff if you play well. So that's Cue Ball Wizard. I'm going to pause real quick and we're going to look inside the head. Okay, just showing here this really bright light board. This is lamp board, I should say. There's a few LEDs that I took out because it's so much brighter than incandescence that it just seemed to be a little too much. So I was a little strategic in trying to get in there and remove a few of those just to cut down on how much light. That's one of the cons, I think, to having LEDs, is sometimes they're a little bit overpowering. But you can see this board is clean. It doesn't look like it's, some of these look like they're water damaged, or they're just really a mess. And so you got to dig deep to make sure that the machine that you're looking at to buy is made well. So this one here has not been abused. Also in the electronics, and that's really my area of expertise, whenever you go around a game, you want to try to identify any kind of major repairs, and it might be hard for your eyes to see that. But if we look across this set of boards, all of the boards are fine. They're not even, dirty. They don't have that disgusting look that so many of these games did whenever they were in bars. So if anything, all they have is dust on it. And we still see things like this that are on the game. So that kind of implies that nobody's been into the cable harness, cut up anything to trace down a wiring problem. So again, these are so reliable. There's not really too many things that can go wrong here. If we try to track down certain things to give us a clue about the game and its serial numbers and whether or not they match, right here is the tag you can look at, and that one says 101418, and we see that last 3 digits, 418, here and up here. And I can't see that one there, but I can see it's 101, so that's a good sign. And then over there, that one looks like 101418. And the CPU board, I don't see a tag on it at all, except for what's on that game EEPROM over there. And then the driver board over here has a 101418. So now there is something that is different, and that's this one. It has a different serial number, and that's part of the voltage regulation. So somebody swapped this whole voltage regulator out, it appears, but that would be the only thing that I see that is different. Not bad for a game that was made, 30 years ago now? So I think we're about at the 30th anniversary. Now, I'm going to peek down in here, and we have, of course, it's very bright now with all the LEDs. We have the little power input bag over there. It still exists. The little information card pouch is still there. The plastic that covers the transformer, that's still there. It's dusty down in there. Not a big deal. There's the original manual. And then I have a couple of things I'm going to leave with the buyer of this. I have a couple of drop targets, and then I have that one wagon wheel targets decal to replace if it's ever needed. I have a Comet pinball sticker because I use Comet lamps or LEDs. And then Ramp-O-Matic is where I bought that ramp from. I like to leave some of those in there. And then this key right here and lock, I'm not quite sure where that came from, so I'll figure that one out. But I do have, I want to mention that this game was a re-imported game. So the understanding is that it came from Germany. That's my understanding. And it's using this big German coin mech, which is disconnected. I don't have any German coins to put in there. But what's really interesting about this coin door is while the game can be set on free play, and there you can see the information on the coin door for that particular market, but it has this barrel lock here, and it's interesting because the barrel lock with these keys, if I turn this, it just added a credit. So it kind of takes me back. Now it's on free play, so you're not seeing the credits increase, but the way you would increase the credits is just by turning the key. If you had it on, I think that's Deutschmark insignia there, which I don't think they even use those anymore in Germany. But again, there's the wiring for that. That was something, and maybe it is something that's done in Germany. I don't know. But here is our original serial number of the game, 101418. So that makes sense since we've been talking about that throughout. And also you can check the Playfield, and you probably can't see it, but I'm going to try to get the phone in just correct light. Gottlieb did this with their shooters, and I think you can get the number off of it now. If you look at it in just the right light, it says 101418. There, now I think you can see it, 101418. So the serial number of the Playfield, at least is plastic, and the serial number of the game all match. Oh yeah, I can really see it clearly now on there. So maybe you didn't know that. That's kind of a neat little thing. Just kind of making sure that the Playfield and the boards and everything match. So should you be concerned that this game was originally in Germany? No. Years and years ago, we had to worry about that whenever people were buying entire containers of pinball machines. You just had no idea what you were going to get and the quality, and sometimes it was really, really bad. But in this case, this game has been in home operation, so like I said, since 2004. So it has had many years of enjoyment, and if anything, it may have came back from Germany over here in better shape than what a lot of American used products were. And in fact, it might be that the game that came back because they had newer games and there just wasn't a good secondary market in Germany, whereas in America, it wasn't a bad market at all. We were able to buy, purchase it and then put it in homes. So anyway, that's Cue Ball Wizard. It's a cool game, and if you're interested in it, by the time you watch this, it might already be gone.